there. I'm telling you how to fucking deal with this shit. And
Flu flick. You will recover.
Legit.
Let's go.
We in. This is your organic drop. It's your time to shine, baby.
Yeah,
Go
baby.
ahead, hit us
That's
with
how
it.
we do
I
it.
messed it up. I messed it up.
It's all good.
What do I do with my hands?
Check. Knots in my throat.
Hey, whose fucking podcast is this?
Your mom's.
I
wish I had one. Somebody's podcast. We back, baby. We back.
Let's
I'm feeling a little
go.
congested. How we doing?
I'm good.
sir?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back.
We got our usual suspects here.
That's it. Who
We
are
got
they?
Chris D.
Yup.
Y'all know. J Mac.
What up? What up?
And we got our special guest here tonight.
The Cadillac.
Mr. Cadillac himself. How's it going?
Living.
How you feeling today?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Awesome.
I don't know. That was suspect.
That what
not.
didn't it sound
You like pause for the word, like,
Because I had to make sure it was the right word. That's it.
You are awesome.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Drive, Eddie. Drive.
What's so awesome about today, Chad? Tell them what's so awesome about today.
It's another day clean.
Mm,
I'm alive.
come on.
I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a good day. Woke up today, living. Not chasing nothing but dreams.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Fix his mic. Yeah, there you go.
Hold on, me.
I'm gonna fucking cut that off.
He's like, you're so awesome, deep throat this mic.
And we're back. Somebody's podcast. We back. We back in the building. How we doing, baby? This is Eddie. This is our third intro. Eddie drove the first one and he crashed that motherfucker.
Heavy.
So we had to bring it back, rewind. You know what I mean? So why don't we go back, introduce some people? Eddie, there you go.
All right, man. We got our usual suspects. Like I said, welcome to Somebody's Podcast. We got our usual suspects.
Our suspects
The
and our
suspects.
suspects.
We got Chris D here. We got Chris D here,
And
man.
we back. Welcome to Somebody's Podcast.
DJ Khaled, another one.
We got the J Meister, J Mac over there, and we got a special guest tonight for you guys. We got Mr. Cadillac himself.
What's up, guys?
All the way from Fall River.
You know.
Come on, man. Tell us a little about yourself. The viewers wanna hear it. Let's hear a little about you.
See, Eddie don't even do no foreplay with the fucking. He goes right. He just goes jumps right in. He's like, we got my man Chad here. Tell me everything about yourself, your history, your past. So
man.
I want to know. Go, baby.
Your mother's maiden name. Like,
All
what are
that.
we working with
You gotta
here?
grease him up, baby. You gotta get him comfortable. You gotta fucking. You gotta set him up. Throw an alley-oop. You know what I mean? You gotta fucking dish him the rock.
Yeah, facts. You just throw
All right, no, I guess I'm just super excited because this is a man sitting here that I love. I love truly. I love deeply. It's somebody that I grew a relationship with, a really strong bond with through this recovery process. Through watching him and his journey coming in here, and I don't want to tell this whole story because it's special and it's something that really touches my heart. But he's somebody that I watched through this process, and I got to see at a very early age. Early age?
No.
No, you didn't get to see him at an
older
early
than you.
age.
A very early age in recovery, man. And so like it's real nice to like get to know people in this process and get to see people, especially at the very start of their journey in this process. Like, and it's something beautiful because a lot of us, like, we take for granted because like we went through this process kind of like gaining weight, right? Like you never notice when yourself is gaining weight. Like, I know for me, I gained a lot of weight one time and I didn't notice it until I started looking at pictures. And I was like, damn, man, I've gained a lot of weight. And the same thing could be said about recovery is we're so focused a lot of the time in this process on the insanity that's still in our lives.
You good?
What?
I just like that you made a fucking. He's like, yo, recovery like getting a fat ass. You know what I mean? It's like when your booty get big, you know, it'd be like when you be eating some fucking Twinkies and shit, and then after a while you don't know that your booty getting big, and then one day,
You got a badunkadunk.
you know what I mean?
Yo, I gotta ask
come
Andy
on,
to
man.
get clean.
Yo, you know what I noticed about Eddie? This is what I noticed about. He's always the one that's like, yo, we gotta just get on there and just act natural and just be. Yo, we gotta chop it up like we do in the circle and shit. And the second we get on the mics, he's like, my name, Eddie, my name, yo. You wanted to roast me out this motherfucker. You wanted to start the podcast and roast me. Instead, you
You
get
roast
that
yourself.
business.
He's like, yo, you talking about 8 Mile recovery? I'm gonna burn myself right now.
That's right.
Hey,
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
that's an amazing analogy.
I love it. I love it.
That was,
I love it.
That was so good.
I love it.
Eddie, I love you.
I love you guys.
I love
Listen,
that. I love that Chad's here too, because the best part about this is we get to give you perspectives about different places and parts of where we're at in recovery. You know, it's like there's a mix of time in here and a mix of different processes and past and where we grew, where we've
hey. Next, go ahead, Jay.
where we've grown up. God damn it! Go ahead, Jay. You're up.
You're up, Jay. Go ahead, get him. Get him.
Jay's
take it
panicking. Jay's panicking.
No,
Anyway.
I'm not panicking.
Anyway,
No.
it gives a good perspective. So, like you said, we've been watching Chad's process for about a year now, and I was actually excited to get you on tonight. And I'm gonna be real with you. Eddie tried to replace you. He tried to replace you last minute, dude. Yep. And then
I actually paid
Damn,
$100 to be here.
Bro,
Yo,
he's
that's-
getting it.
yeah.
That's
hell
why
yeah.
you covered your shift.
Yeah.
But there's twofold. There's two things that happened, which is dope. What I watched is like there was a predecessor that came in Eddie, and I seen that he took you under his wing early on, and then I seen someone that was willing to take advice. You know what I mean? Listen with the intent to hear, not to respond, and trusting in someone, and that's what this process is. It's trusting blindly in people and hoping that what they're telling you is like the truth, right? Because there's only one way to understand if they're telling the truth is to take that leap of faith and experience the gifts that we talk about around here, and to watch you come from a place of like never really giving recovery a true shot and turning shit around. But I do love like your story, and I don't want it to be so like where you feel like you have to get on here and share like your full shebang, but like give us a little bit of experience, strength, and hope. You know what I mean? So then like, for the person that's watching this podcast that may not have experience, you know what I mean, or maybe earlier on in their process, you have a powerful story and a powerful message from where you come from. So, why don't you hit us with a little something, Chad?
So real quick, this is my first time in recovery. 20 years using heroin, no NA, no clean time. Going to jail, having things handed to me, have older brothers that set the way. One of the things I think helped me the most was I learned early on that I'm not a leader and I'm a follower. I said this to you the other day, Chris. I'm proud to be a follower today.
Yeah.
I come from a family all in addiction. I got one brother that got some clean time. I got another brother that has a little bit of clean time, but basically because he's locked up. Family members and friends and whoever else all have died from ODs and everything else. Drug dealing is a big part of my life. It's been in my family since before my time. And I thought I was going to be stuck in that forever. Like I said, I learned early on when I first came up here, it took me about 2 weeks to realize, and Eddie was a big part of that, to realize I wanted to have what he had.
Yeah.
Not ashamed to say I'm a fucking follower.
Yeah.
This kid's coming in every day, walking on his tippy toes, challenging me every day, think positive about myself, you know, and that turned the wheel in my head. It let me know, like, these are things that I want. These are things that I needed to do. I need to take these suggestions, and basically because I want to live, you know. I'm scared to die. 37 years of my life, I thought I wanted to die.
Yeah.
You know, and today I feel different. Today I'm trying to live for Chad. And I got this one thing in my recovery that it's in my car. I keep it all the time. I talk about it all the time and everything else. It's a gratitude stone that says Chatitude. And that's literally because today, I love it so much because today that's what I give everybody. I give everybody Chad. Not an ego, not somebody I want anybody to be. If you don't like me, then fuck yourself. Like, I really don't care. You're getting me. And I found a burning desire in me, and that burning desire was to help the next person down, you know? Like,
You grew up, but you had a big family, right?
yeah, I'm one of 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Fall River.
You know.
Yeah, Fall River. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Fall River and that dynamic and your experience. And
So growing up in Fall River was kind of tough. My brothers, real young, started a street gang that blew up into a big thing where I come from. It was cops were all well known about it, and it revolved around drug dealing and everything else. And I couldn't even go to like Chuck E. Cheese without getting jumped at a young age, getting chased by kids way older than me just because I was their brother. And my mom was also an alcoholic.
Shit was popping off at Chuck E. Cheese,
bad.
bro.
Hey, it was bad. I swear, the Bloods and the Crips used to gang up and come into my house from the front and the back.
Damn.
And like up into my mother's apartment. But it was crazy growing up as kids. My mom was an alcoholic, and we lived on a main street, and it was everybody cruised the Ave. That was like the thing to do. So I was about 8 years old, having to just be home when the street lights came on. But then I could sit outside in front of my house as long as I want. And I was having my older brothers giving me beers and smoking pot, and I thought that was normal. Mushrooms at a young age. Like, I thought that's what life was. It wasn't weird for one of my friends' dads or family members to die from cirrhosis. Drinking was a part of our culture.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until just recently when I found out it doesn't have to be like that. You know what I mean? It's life-changing, man. It's life-changing.
I love this dude so much. Like, and it's so funny. It's so funny because like watching him, like how angry he was, like when he first got into housing and stuff, and first got into recovery, and like how resentful he was. And I seen a lot of like, and that's what we do around here in recovery. Like, we relate to people and we see where they're at and we feel their feelings. Like, that's what empathy is, right? Like, we have a ton of empathy out here. And it was like so amazing because that's around the time that I first started working here, and so it was cool to watch. Like, he was one of the first people that I seen a switch, like literally a switch just go off. Like, it was a matter of a couple weeks. I was coming in, I'm blasting Lion King music, walking around, waking people up. I'm like, like, right?
Oh,
and I'm like, and I'm in this, and I have all these ambitions to be like a great, like, pillar in this community, and to be a leader too, like, as well as a follower, right? Like, and I'm leading off of, like, because the leaders that led me taught me to be a leader. Yeah. And that's the whole process is leaders breed leaders. They don't breed followers. That's just, who said that? That's a famous quote.
Yeah.
It's a famous quote by somebody, but
Christopher Dino Cole.
Anyway. And I got to see him in this process, and I got to see this light switch in his head, and everything changed about him. I think it was, honestly, and I'm going to pinpoint it to, I ran a group. It was on, like, talking to yourself in the mirror, like, giving yourself affirmations, telling yourself, like, I can, changing that narrative in your head, that dialogue that goes on that says I can't, that I'm not good enough, that I'll never do this, I'll never do that. As simple as just getting clean and changing things. And I remember he came up to me after the group and was like, oh, I did that this morning, because I challenged everybody to do it. And he's like, I did that this morning. He kept coming up to me for like a week. And then, like, he's up early in the morning. He's talking to guys at the kitchen table. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he went from literally every day telling me he was going back to Fall River. And let's just clarify something right now. Nobody fucking says that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you said that, because my relationship with Chad, I remember, I think I'd only known you for like a week or two, and because of the area he's from, I know, not a lot of people, but a handful of people. Like, shout out to the DBM boys, Swerve, and that's where Toom and Just and all these, like, my good friends are from. But Scotty, shout out to Scotty G. He said he's from Fall River, and I forget if he brought it up or I brought it up, but somehow it ended up being basically they grew up together.
Yeah.
So that instantly right there, like they say, people, places, and things, I know for me, it just changed the whole trajectory of, like, how I knew Chad, because now I felt like I knew him more. And I said, well, me and Scotty are really good friends. And I said, a little over 10 years ago, he came up here. He really hadn't had much experience being clean. He walked into a men's meeting, spoke with that raspy voice, right? Chad got a raspy voice.
Is that like a Fall River thing? Is that the water?
Oh, it definitely,
Is that in
right?
the water?
I'm starting to see it.
But he walked in, and I said it to him just like this. I said, that man walked in, said he didn't know no one, really hadn't had any clean time, and I believe Chris was there too. And I've been friends with Scotty literally since that day. That dude seen me at my worst, clean and using. Same with Chris, and I remember that bond. And it's funny because you're coming up on a year in what, a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
So something that's funny that I know me and Chad know about, but I don't know if anyone else does. But I like seeing people get their life together and take recovery serious so much that he also likes sneakers. And somehow, I said, because you're size 13, right?
Yeah, you were talking to somebody else about it. I was like, that's my size.
So I had a friend that worked at Reebok for a while, and he got to design a pair of Reebok pumps. And it's a one of one. And they're funky, they're purple, and it always killed me that they're not my size. And we were having that conversation. I said, you get a year clean, I'm going to give you those. And every couple months, Chad's always sent to me, I'm coming for those pumps. And I was like, yo, I've never been so happy to give away a fucking pair of sneakers in my life. Come get that year.
Yeah.
And here he is. And he does talk about the positive affirmations. So it's cool to hear that he got that from your group, Eddie, because now guess what? Chad says that to other people and lives it. It's not like, oh, I got that from Eddie, let me say it. Nah, you live that, so it's your story too.
I still
now.
have the book in my car where I wrote down every day. I was like, just be positive to 3 different people. Tell 3 different people a compliment, And all of that just rewired my brain and just got me into a different state of mind.
But it's the ripple effect, like Chris says, because you learn some things, but everything that I talk about or that Chris talks about or Eddie talks about, we're not like the one of one creative that. It's
we
like,
weren't the Stones.
Yeah, you like get but you get inspired. At least that's my style. I get some things that I've heard many times, and then I put my twist on it. Just like I'm not the only one that's ever done certain cartoon characters. I take famous images and I recreate them, and that's what recovery looks like too.
Hell yeah, we're the messengers. I'm the most unoriginal man in recovery ever. Everything that I say has come from someone that has inspired me. When I say suffering is an inevitable part of life, it's what we choose to suffer for, which is important. That's Jordan Peterson. When I say with new levels comes new devils, that's TD Jakes. When I everything that like and TD Jakes is a minister. You know
Somebody
what I mean?
quoted you on that in my group the other day. One of our clients quoted you on that.
What, the new levels, new devils?
Yeah,
Jada
yeah.
Kiss said it too.
Yeah.
I probably heard it from Jada Kiss more than from whoever Chris just said.
TD Jakes, yeah. He's a preacher. He's a preacher man. He also talks about your life progressing faster than your mind does. That came from and there's so many. It's my grandfather has given me a ton of information that he always used to tell me, God is everything or he's nothing, Christopher. So regardless of what it is, that it's within everything. It's within people. It's within the halls. It's within AA, NA. If even the people that are power greater than themselves, if they believe in the trees, that's fine because God is the trees. Like and he's the one that taught me a lot of this. And we're all ultimately like, even when I pray every night, we were just talking about prayer before this. I say, use me as a vessel to shine your light and your love. Put the person in my life that I'm going to help or that is going to help me. And being a vessel is just allowing the free flow of information that God puts within you, that finds you, and just paying it forward. Even something like the shit that, like I want to know what was the affirmations that group that with Eddie. Why don't you what was that group? What was the premise behind? Because I'm big into affirmations. I'm big into like even the writing shit down. You're 47% more likely to attain something or accomplish something just by simply writing that thing down. So why wouldn't you write down these positive things?
I mean, so a long time in my life, my vocabulary was I can't.
For sure.
Long time in my life. This is new to me. I can do anything I put my mind to. And I can't really specifically remember the group. I remember being there. I remember the conversation. But it was just believing in yourself. Believing in yourself. And if it takes you repetition every day, waking up and telling yourself, I can do this. I can be this person. I was open to suggestions and willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And I just did that every day. Every single day. I hold something from every single person in my early recovery. There's something from Jay. I still got that keychain. Jay one day was talking about addiction being like a gorilla on your back. That day I went to the store and his backpack that I bought had the keychain on of a gorilla. Still hold that till this day.
Yeah.
Stuff that Adam said. I hear voices today and it's positive. These voices are my tools today.
Actually, real quick, will you touch on that? You said that before. There was a time you almost left and you were walking and you almost copped.
Yeah, so when I first came out here, Eddie almost fucked me over that night. When I first came out here, I was out here for about 30 days. And I didn't come out here broke. I didn't come out here homeless. I didn't come out here
You did come out here almost dead, though.
almost dead. Yes, from a coma. I didn't come out here court stipulated, nothing like that. I came out here because I knew if I didn't, I was going to die. So about 30 days after being out here, I was at a meeting and I kind of got stressed out because I was scared of a pink cloud when I first came. I kept coming to Eddie. Am I in a pink cloud? Why am I feeling different than everybody else? I'm challenging facilitators and everything else because I'm scared. Like, what's going on? He kept letting me know it's not. You're just on a different level than most people. One day I left the meeting because it didn't, I don't believe in triggers. It just set a snowball effect of bad thoughts. By the time I got to the van, them tools that I learned was gone. I didn't pick up the phone and call nobody. We drove back to the programming house and I tried to give Eddie $600. I was like, can you take this from me? And he was like, no. You know what I mean? And I just left. I just walked out in the driveway. It was raining that night. I'm not from here. I have no idea where I was. And I knew I was going to get high. I was doing whatever it did. I needed to get the fuck out of my head. I needed to stop that bouncing ball. Yeah. So I'm walking around for about 45 minutes in the pouring rain. I see two people down the way. All I can see is lighters. I can't even tell it's people. I see lighters. So now I'm coming up with a conversation how I'm going to talk to these people so they don't believe I'm a cop and they're going to give me what I want. I take $40 out and I'm like, I'm going to get high right now. 2 minutes before I got to them, I'm having this whole thing in my head so they know I'm not a cop. And then all of a sudden, right as I'm about to open my mouth, I see my sneaker. And a tech, literally about a week before that, told me sometimes I still got to look down at my feet to remind me where I am. And when I seen my sneaker, he popped in my head and something else came out of my mouth. I just basically asked them how they were doing. I turned the corner and just head the other way. I even had the GPS how to get back to the house because I had no idea where I was.
Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I remember you telling me the story. I think it was the next day. And dude, that, just like he said it now, I knew you were going to tell that story. And I listened the whole time. And it still moved me the way because that's how fucking close we are to a different life.
That was an experience, too, that I'd never really experienced before because, like, music is, my meditation. Same. I had headphones in. I couldn't tell you what was playing. That bouncing ball was so crazy in that moment. So I never had clean time before. So even that 30 days was enough to get some clarity. So I think that the thoughts consumed me so bad. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know nothing around me. I knew that I wanted to get high on whatever it was. I didn't even care. I'm not a drinker. I'll drink. Never done meth. I'll do meth.
Some type of relief.
Yeah, hell yeah. And, and thank God I hear these voices today. They help me. They're not a bad thing. So.
Yeah. Nah, I've had, I was 4 years clean. I was 4 years clean and I was in this nightclub at, they used to be an Asian restaurant up on Route 1 called Waylu's that they turned into a nightclub. And, what the fuck was the name of it?
I was just about to ask you that. It was a short-lived thing because there was a lot of fights again, just like the Palace back in the day.
And I had a similar situation. I made but God intervened differently for me. I made a conscious decision. I was going to drink that night. I was like, fuck it, dude. Fuck it. I was such a fraud. At that point in time, I was in so much pain. I was in this place where I had suppressed so much of my truth. And I was like, I built up the external fucking, I talk about it often. Every time I talk to anybody, I talk about when we fall prey to the stipulations upon our happiness, when the disease of addiction manifests itself in other areas of our lives. And for me, it was real easy to get me to take the bait on the external things with the promise at the end of it that when I arrive at this certain point, I'll be okay, right? So I did that, and I went on like a really good run with this, right? Because I was like at the age of 22. When I came in here and I didn't have my license, I didn't have nothing, I didn't have money, I didn't have shit. So I literally went on a run with like graduating the program, getting to the sober house. And when I got to sober house, it was like, we need our own apartment. Then I got my own apartment. It was like, we need our license back. And then I got my license back. We need a car. And it was like, all right, we got a car. We need a better car. And it was like, we need clothes. And I went and I was running. And then it was like, all this stuff was like because I needed to be validated because I didn't know how to validate myself. And the only things that I knew to do self-love, which is what I thought, was to fix up the external world, right? And then I had like severe insecurities. I had body dysmorphia, or I hated the way that I looked. So I got like super obsessed on steroids. I didn't know what I was doing with them. And I did a fuck ton. And I got like super jacked because I have skinny guy complex, and I went from like 150 pounds to like 195 pounds, but I didn't know the side effects of steroids, and my hair started falling out, and I started getting back knee and all this shit. So now I was like this insecure fucking jack dude who didn't want to take off his shirt because I had pimples all over my back. And then I was selling steroids, and no one knew that I was selling steroids, all while I was going to meetings, and I was sharing some heat in the meetings. like when I did go, I would share that heat. You know what I mean? Full of shit, dude. Who I was when no one was watching was completely different than who I was when, you know what I mean? And I didn't even know who I was. I was a fucking chameleon in every circle that I was within. There was a few people that knew the truth about me, Jay being one. And they were like, just keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. But I was like so consumed through the disease of addiction because I never took the time to become a student to understand what the fuck was happening to me. So I was in pain. And I couldn't tell anybody that I was in pain because they were fucking proud of me. Everybody in my life that loved me just saw me clean with muscles and a tan because I had a tanning membership and I had a job that I fucking hated and I lived in an apartment that I hated and I had roommates that I didn't want to live with and I had fucking friends that I didn't really care for. You know what I mean? And I was a different version of who I needed to be in every circle that I was within. And it was painful. And I didn't want to tell anybody because it didn't align up with who I was trying to be portrayed as. So I would contradict what I was selling. You know what I mean? I was selling something to everybody. And who I actually was the exact opposite. I was dying on the inside. And I was acting still out of my moral compass. I wasn't in alignment with and I had no access to it. You know, I had no access to the good in myself because I couldn't get rid of the fucking, the narrative, the negative self-talk, because I couldn't get to a place of transparency, of truth or honesty. So that night, I remember I was in so much pain. I was in so much fucking pain, man. So much shit that was going on with me that I couldn't fucking free myself of. And I was at this club because that's what you do when you're a sick, unspiritual dude is you hit the clubs and shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm drinking tonight. I don't give a fuck no more. What's the fucking point of this? And I went to the bar. I went up to the bar to order a drink. And as I'm waiting in line to order, I turn around and I see 3 dudes from meetings that I go to that were there was like a group of people from like meetings and recovery that ended up going to the club at this night. And I seen them walking towards me. It just put that pause for that split second, and it was like God intervened, and I ended up ordering just Red Bulls, and then they came up to me because they didn't see me. I saw them, so I panicked, and I just got regular Red Bulls. And I remember one of them coming up to me when I did see them, and they grabbed my drink and they smelled it fucking around, and I remember like, damn, because and it wasn't even like. I think my ego, the fear of like shattering my perception from them, because at that point my perception was all I had, what people thought I was. Even though it was false and it was illusion, it was still something that I was hanging on to, and it gave me enough of a gap for them to intervene before. I mean, ultimately that saved my life because not even 2 weeks later my father died, and holy shit, you know what I mean? Like that's why when I always talk about I could see God's hand meticulously in my life, like looking back in hindsight. That's one of those moments because I always play the tape through thinking back, like, imagine I took that drink, right? Because I know what happens to me. I have this fucked up disease that tries to tell me like, oh, we can drink, because drinking was never something that I even cared for. I wasn't even a big drinker. Every time I got drunk, I'd get depressed with a hangover and I'd shoot dope.
Well, you just touched on it. Both those stories have similar endings. You didn't pick up, and I've had more stories with not following through. Like in your situation, it was a tech or just someone's powerful words that had been ingrained. Yours, it's seeing someone from meetings, right? That's the accountability piece. Like even though they're not your boys, they're people you're affiliated with from meetings. And what I got out of that, and I've known that story for years, is that that's the perfect example of just remaining abstinent or being in recovery. Yep. And my thing is, I started living this fucking false life where I had all these years clean, and I had done step work and spoke at conventions and done all these things, and I was riding off of ego, and I'd stopped doing those things and stopped telling people the fucking conniving ways that I was living. Therefore, when I wanted to drink, I literally, and this is what I mean when I talk about dissecting relapse, I literally remember being like, well, if I drink tonight, that's just one less thing I'm fucking hiding. And I did. And just like Chris said, and every fucking time I've relapsed, it was always on alcohol because I just always said I'm not an alcoholic. Bro, my problem's me.
Yeah.
And just like he said, and all it's ever taken every time for me to hit rock bottom again was a good hangover. Because I affiliate, my story is I affiliate that with being dope sick. Really, I'm just dehydrated and have a headache. But I registered as dope sick, and it's perks or some type of. And people out there need to hear these stories because there's a bunch of Chads out there. There's a bunch of Chris's and Eddies and J-Max, right? We're just another addict. And a lot of people, they chime in and say that. And we've been getting a lot of that lately where people are saying, thank you for being vulnerable and just sharing that, because that's the fucking miracle and that's the hope right there. To be walking and look down at your sneakers, that stop you from using. You had $40 already ready to dap up, right? That's 40 exactly. And you were going to drink, except my difference is I was the guy in the club that was like, fuck it, I wanted some relief. But I regretted it the second it hit my lips.
Bro, we have this total. We have this great thing called pain. Like, I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of pain. I never was a fan of pain, but I'm a huge fan of pain. I'm a huge fan of empowering people, of getting through their pain. Like, I'm a huge fan of it. I'm not a fan of saving people from their pain. I never really was saved from my pain. My pain's been my greatest fucking learning curve in my life, and that's the thing that we all get to. We get to that point where the pain's great enough, and that statement holds true for so many areas of our lives, and it's going to keep holding true. The pain gets great enough again and again and again, and it's like that's what gives us the opportunity to improve.
And I get what you're saying, too. I just created way too much pain in my life, and just like Chris's story when he heard the convention speaker, mine is I share freely now to the point where it can be uncomfortable for others, but it's freeing, and I'm sick of fucking... The most painful shit in my life has been caused by me. In 42 fucking years.
Shit.
Yeah, my dad and my mom and growing up a certain way. Yeah, I get it. That's painful. But the most catastrophic fucking pain I've ever been through, I've caused it. And the beautiful part is, with the help of others, by sharing that, that's what gives me the relief to keep me on this path. I never want to be the fucking dude in a club drinking vodka and Red Bull because I'm so in pain that I won't share that I'm a sick and suffering addict, when really I almost needed that to happen back then. Because now I know that when I do share the pain, because it's my greatest motivator. I agree 100%. It's just that I need people like Chris or Eddie or how we were just venting and talking and chopping it up before. I always feel good after those conversations because I don't want to sit in pain no more. You know what I mean? Like when I share and do like what we do here, if I sit in pain too long, man, I don't give a fuck how much recovery I have. This is just my story. I will literally end up convincing myself to fuck it up more.
Well, we have these two options. We have these two options when we get to that point, when the pain gets great enough, or however you want to say that. There's a million different ways to say it. When you reach the end of the road, right? Like when enough's enough.
Yeah.
Like we have this perfect opportunity. We have two options when we reach that point. There's only two options there. Like I'm saying, like the pain's always going to get great enough. We're going to get to that point where we're at the end of the road. We had enough, and we have two options. We can either grow or we can go. That's it. There's no in between. There's nothing else to do. My pain is this great. My using, my addiction, my active addiction. I got to the point where it's like I either am going to grow or I'm just going to go and keep doing this. My story holds true when I get into recovery. When the pain gets great enough, I'm either going to go through it and grow, or I'm leaving and I'm getting high.
What is the growth process?
As far as like what?
Just in general, what does your growth process look like? I mean, for example, like my growth process for me, it's like fearlessly honest and my dialogue with myself and with people.
Yep. Yeah. No. All right. Yeah. I get exactly.
That's a part of my growth process is giving myself permission to feel fucking ridiculous in what I'm about to say to you, and freeing myself of what the fuck's happening.
Humbling yourself.
Shoot, humility to and that is like
we need people to be able to get those type of conversations off our chest and out of our mind with.
Oh, people is pivotal. It's only, I mean, your network, your reference group, responsible for fucking 90% of your success and failures in life. I believe that you could fact check me. I could be wrong. It could be 70%, but there was like a Harvard study that talked about that. Your reference group, the 5 closest people to you, or the 6 closest people.
I mean,
to
it
you
makes
in
the
your
most sense. You hear shit
Jay,
like
you
hang
got the
around.
Carfax on that?
Well, I know if I hang out with 5 broke people, I'll be the 6th. Do you know what I mean? No, for real. You hang out with like 5 people in recovery. Do you know what I mean? You're most likely, they're going to hold you accountable and not have you be the 6th dude that does shit, right? Just like I like to hang out with people that like to take care of themselves or that are passionate. Maybe doesn't have to be passionate about art, but I like people that have a drive to them because I know I get the big eyes and I I need people like that. I need those type of conversations.
We were actually talking about growth process and like what everybody's process looks like. And I do believe that people have different growth processes, like as far as like what they need. Like we are individuals, but there is a common theme that we do have, and that is like being honest, sharing, having people around you, having support. There's something that humans need. Like we need to be supported, right? Like we need to be guided. It's something that I've always needed in my life. As far as like growth though, like true growth, I believe it comes from knowing your truths. I truly believe that a lot of us, and I believe this in recovery too, is I've been guided a lot, but at one point, and I was told this a long time ago by somebody, like, at what point do you have enough information to do something different, right? Like, because at the end of the day, I'm making those actions. I'm changing this attitude, and I'm making different actions, right? And we can get filled with all the information that we need, like, but at the end of the day, I truly believe in the human race, like, and empowerment. And I believe that people have the information that they need, especially coming around, like, seeing the light switch flip in people's heads and hearing a lot of people in this process is like, what point do we have enough information that we need? It's about the actions that we take. And I truly believe that. And exactly like you just talked about, honesty is an action.
Well, so with you saying that, I want to bring it back to when Chad said that, because I remember you know, we were sharing the stories when you were new, and then you started to take action. And I remember you getting fired up times, like within the first 90 days of like, yo, I'm fucking doing this. And I love when people talk like that. Like people get like, they walk on eggshells, like, am I being cocky? I'm like, fucking send it, bro. Like all that is your spirits talking. You're like, I'm fucking doing this. You participating in group, going to meetings, doing these things. Like at what punt? At what punt?
No, I'm fumbling too, like crazy, right?
Fumbling and punting.
I'm fumbling.
At what point?
Yep, punt. Or punt.
So I'm punting to you. You better catch this.
Yep, I'm ready.
At what point did you start to hear?
Yeah, you better go slow, motherfucker, because I'm fucking...
I'm concentrating on every word. It's coming out like this. At what point?
I feel like I got Elmer's glue in my mouth right now.
I feel like fucking Leonardo DiCaprio when he took the barbiturates. I'm like, at what point did you realize recovery could work?
It's better than me. I feel like Tom Cruise and Vanilla Sky right now. I've been fumbling.
I love that. I love that Eddie wanted, well, before we put we hit record, he said, we're going to roast this dude for fucking 35 minutes. And then I
He's
fucking
the only one that hasn't been roasted yet.
And then I flipped the script, and you guys have been fucking up, and I'm free and clear, baby. I'm free and clear.
So to go off your question real quick, Jay.
Yeah. Yep.
For me, there was
Thank you,
another
Chad.
light
Yeah,
switch.
Chad, enough from you. You got to understand, when you come on this podcast, you're here to hear me,
Just to
Jay,
look pretty,
and
right?
Eddie.
Yeah, just to look pretty.
Chad, this goes for an hour, but Chris talks for 48.
All right, so I'll make it quick. But
You hit your quota.
I remember this this specific moment. Actually, I got pissed at Eddie that day. So on the ride up here from Fall River,
Eddie's a dick,
you
huh?
know,
Facts.
my brother was yelling at me because my brother's got some clean time. And he was showing me a bunch of money, and he drives a nice truck and everything else. And he kept telling me, Chad, I have no needs today. And I was thinking it was because of money. You know what I mean? Because he's grown so much in his recovery and everything else. And then I remember one day going to yoga with Eddie, and I missed a phone call from my brother that's in the feds. And I was pissed off because I had to leave my phone in the van. I was like, what the fuck? See, I'm not leaving my phone no more. And then he called me back the next day at night. And we had this quick conversation. He's like, Chad, you know something? He's a big believer in God and his higher power. And he's like, something told me to call you today because it was at night and he wasn't getting out at night because of COVID. And he said something to me that in that moment is where I believe that this would work. And he said the same thing my other brother did. He said, Chad, I have no needs today. This is a kid that's locked up in Kentucky. No idea that my other brother said that to me. And that's when it clicked. I still thought my other brother was talking about money.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, like, he's free. You know what I mean? Like, he has no control. He let something else, a higher power, control him. And he has no needs today. He just trusts in that. And then it talked about the growth where Eddie was talking about. A lot of people, too. I struggled with weed. weed is a big thing. I remember fighting with Eddie about it. We were in the car arguing about it because, I was always
I
convinced.
remember you saying that. Like, I think I'm going to go back to at least smoking weed.
I was always convinced that I'm going to smoke weed, And then one day I failed the drug test when I didn't even smoke. And I almost left over it. And
We're going to have to look up those labs, Chad.
and I actually called Eddie. And he was like, you know what? Just chill the fuck out. Let's see what's going on. Take another test, And in that moment, I was like, I'm doing all of this work and I'm still feeling like failing a drug test. I might as well just go smoke. And then I thought about it and was like, I don't trust myself. I can't just smoke. I've never just smoked weed, or like you were saying, I've never just drank. I don't know if I'm capable to just smoke a joint and not shoot dope. So I'm not willing to try it. I want to live. So, and that was another big thing with my brother too, because I fought with my brother about smoking weed. And he said, Chad, just give me 6 months without smoking. And it was actually really short before I realized, like, listen, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to die. I'm willing to live drug free and do whatever the fuck it takes for me not to die.
And I think this is really important to note. How many times you been in recovery before?
Never.
How many times you tried to get clean before?
Never.
Yes, you don't want to fuck up what you got.
So this is your first time.
It's not even
First time.
First time ever. First time ever. I've been to detox 3 times for 2 days each time. It was after I got raided when I was selling heroin. I got raided thinking I'm going to go to detox. 2 days I was gone. 3 times that's happened to me. Never stood, never completed nothing ever.
How old were you when you first got clean? How old were you?
37.
37 years old. What an
37.
amazing.
Yeah, and relapse don't have to be a part of the story.
Huh?
And
No,
then that whole
powerful
motherfuckers
message.
that have narratives like I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, all
Come
this
on, man.
bullshit. It's all a fucking narrative, because you've gotten like a little bit of a taste of like what we're actually trying to do when you actually surrender to a true process of recovery. It's like the actual evolution, like being in a place of like honesty, because only through honesty can we be accountable, and only through accountability can change occur, and the change that occurs is the miracle of freedom from self, and like allowing this true spiritual transformation to occur. That's so hard to explain to someone in early recovery. They're like, what the fuck you talking about? I just want to not be dope sick no more. I just want to have the obsession to use. But it's like, I always bring it up because it's the only reason why I'm still here.
Damn, is that a bird?
I just choked. Yeah, I
eat a
just choked
bug?
on my own.
It's the only reason I'm still here.
Yeah. Oh, 1-1. 1-1. Tied. Tied
Got
game.
you, motherfucker.
Tied
We
game.
got you.
Ooh.
But that's the only reason why I'm still here. If there was no evolution, if the Chris that came in couldn't become the Chris that sits here now, and if this Chris that sits here now like couldn't become the Chris that I envision myself hopefully one day being, none of this would be worth it. If I still had the same dialogue, the same inner observer, the same narratives that I talk to myself, if I still had that same negative self-talk, if I still had that same limited belief system, if I still had that same low self-esteem, if I still had the same anger, if I still responded to all the situations the same that I responded to them in early recovery, none of this would be. And that's why I always...
You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want to go. That's why you need the people. When you come across people that have some type of, passions, goals, or just interests. Like, if you just told me, like, you're going to come to this place, we're going to strip you of drugs and alcohol, just like Chris just said, the same narrative. If I was going to stay thinking like that, I wasn't going to last long. It was depressing and scary as fuck. And I'm almost like, I have to like really try sometimes like to think of how fucking warped my thinking was when I was super new. That's why it's cool to see how much growth you've had, Chad, in this year. Like
It's awesome too because most of it was just light switches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how it
Most
works,
of
though.
my recovery, it's just light switches. Like it's either you can or you can't, or you want this or you don't. And most of it is I can.
Hey, I was just coming in with some heat right there.
he knows that. That's how
I
he's
was literally
2-1.
just coming in with some heat.
2-1.
Oh, so listen, this is what happens.
Yeah.
I like that he fucked you up with that.
Listen, I did. I was. Hey,
No, for real, I got a good point, but I got my fucking mic back.
no. So hey, before you guys started making fun of me at the beginning of the show, what I was talking about gaining weight.
Like, yo, I love recovery. I got this big ass,
Hey, listen.
and I just kept eating.
Because we're talking about. Hold on, let me bring this back.
Yeah, bring it back. Yeah, bring that shit back. Yeah.
I was talking about that. I was saying that for a reason. Because we don't notice it.
Yeah.
We don't notice when we're getting weight. And I was trying to relate that back to recovery. And we just talked about
I notice it when you walk away.
No, you
go.
No, you don't.
I just like seeing Eddie laugh this much, so I'm just
Hey,
roasted.
I don't have a butt. Let's just clear
You
it
better
up.
get one.
I got a long back. Okay, listen, I don't got a butt. My pants don't stay up. But the problem is, like, we don't see it. We don't see this progression in our recovery, just like we don't see the progression there. Like, and it's tough. And after a year, other people see the growth in us. Other people see it way more than us, and that's why they're our biggest cheerleaders, our biggest fans. And that's what makes recovery like so important in building a network and having friends. Is because, like, at the end of the day, I got 4 years clean, and I'm fucking crazy.
I'm catching up.
Listen, I'm crazy, right? Like, that's what I'm crazy. Like, and I talk to my sponsor and I talk to people on my network, and I'm like, I'm nuts. I'm nuts. Because you know what I'm focused on? Because I'm so self-aware now, and I've learned so much through this process, and I've learned to take personal responsibility for my actions. And what that does is it shows me, which is a beautiful thing, and it's a blessing, but it shows me how much work that I have to do on myself still.
Well,
All
four of us,
I am, right?
all four of us, we all got to work on ourselves. And I think the thing that I'm the most motivated with now in my life is where I'm currently at. I literally remember the days where I was like praying for that. Like for just what I'm doing career-wise or painting-wise. And you need people like around to help motivate you, like you're saying. And then like Chris is saying, how do you always say it? Just beginning to scratch the surface at like where we're going. I used to look at that if I heard it and be like, damn, it's kind of like defeating. Like, you know, I'm not there yet. But it's actually motivating. Do you know what I mean? Because all the stuff that I wanted and some of the stuff I've witnessed Chad talk about, you're living now. I can remember Chad saying he wanted to work in treatment.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing I say to any addict, I say, if you want to work in treatment, just consider yourself already hired.
Yeah.
But I always say, I don't mean like this facility or where we work. I just mean in general, if you stay working on yourself, like I talk to myself the same way, Eddie, like I'm nuts. But it just means there's more to work on. And when we work on ourselves, we're the best, like we breed other leaders, right? Like Eddie being the best version of Eddie, if you fuck with people and they're around you, they want to be like that too about themselves. You know what I mean? Like when I see someone carry themselves confidently and help others and speak with conviction and have drive, you could want to be the best fucking plumber in New England. I'm like, look at that guy, like, hell yeah, dude. Like, I get amped up for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love saying you.
No, hold on. 1 minute. Listen, I just want to finish this because I've tried it 4 times already and I can't finish it. All right, so I'm gonna say.
Back to the big butt.
I'm gonna say it in one. I'm gonna say it in one sentence. Okay, because I've been trying to do it. I've been taking gaining weight roads.
I also didn't talk for like 55.
Back to Eddie. Come on,
Eddie,
yeah.
come on, baby.
That was really soothing.
So what I'm saying is, like, through self-awareness, we think about how much work we have to do on ourselves. And I told somebody that I said I had a lot of work to do on myself, and I'm still insane. And they told me to to look at the perspective like this, like, and it was my sponsor, and he told me, he says, listen, he's like, think about not all the work that you still have to do, but think about all the sanity that's been restored back in your life in the past 4 years. And that's what I mean, like even a year. Look at all, like we got a lot of work to do. 17 years, 5 years, right? Like we got a lot of work to do. But sometimes like we can give ourselves that and stop for a second and think like, look at all the sanity that's been restored back to us.
100%.
It's a beautiful, it's an amazing thing. That's all I was trying to say, man.
Time's up.
Go ahead.
That was beautiful.
At one point took 2 episodes. I hear you.
That was beautiful. Dude.
So real quick to go off something Eddie said.
It's got to be real quick. Chris is chiming in. You have about
I
40
see him
seconds. Go,
about to
Chad.
No, this is the best. I love this. He keeps trying to go. Keep this going.
So that self-awareness thing, you know, recovery also granted me the gift of realizing that I have an eating disorder. You know, my whole life, I just ate food.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm able to see my eating habits and that I eat because my emotions and how I'm feeling and stuff like that. And that is a big blessing. That's something I'm working on, but that's a big blessing. I realized today, like, that's a problem that I have to work on. And, yeah, that's just one of the simple things. There's plenty of other things. My anger. I was telling you the story the other day where I was flipping out on somebody, but talking to myself in my head, I never knew I was capable of doing that. I was calming myself down as I'm yelling at somebody. And that makes, I feed off of that today. I was like, wow, I can do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Shit's powerful.
I was almost ready to put myself in anger management classes. And now I realize, like, you know, I might still need those, but maybe I can calm myself down a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe I could just humble myself.
Well, because you're listening to a voice that you probably didn't listen to forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm about to put myself in your classes.
Come sit.
Yeah,
sit
but
and join.
I love what you're talking about, stopping to smell the roses. You know what I mean? Being able to look back in hindsight and connect the dots. It's important. It's important for us to see, like, our accomplishments and how much sanity has been restored. But what I love about this process is we're no longer in a place where we settle. Right. And I love that. And it's not like there's an expectation of perfection or all that. It's just like having some self-awareness and even sometimes just being able to be in a place of freedom to communicate, like, these are my struggles. This is what I'd like to change about myself, but I don't know if I have the capabilities of changing this yet. And I'm going to continue to just be transparent about that and having that safety and having that freedom of that and knowing that I'm acknowledging some defects of character that I eventually want to be removed. There's some people that goes through life, right, with the Popeye the Sailor Man attitude. I am who I am. This is just what I am. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, which is like,
It's a cop out.
I used to cop out. Well, that's their truth. Whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. But that's a sad existence, right? Because I used to live in that place. Like, I'm not affectionate. Although I'm not the most affectionate person. My wife will tell you I've gotten better. Like, I'm not the most emotional. I've always struggled with that. But that I don't have to have that defined like I'll never be able to. Like, there's so much that I've changed in my life that I at one point in time classified like, this is just how I am. This is just who I am. I'll always be. We talk about that like, me and him are the opposite now, right? We were just talking about this the other day where he gets very angry in the beginning and he responds quickly to his emotions, where I actually, which I used to do, and I've worked a lot, and I've almost worked too much to the point where I'm able to find empathy for people. There's people that have fucking hurt me deeply, and like, your logic would say, like, remove these people completely from your life and all that. But my process has been to, like, just constantly, like, I always go underline, underneath. And I find empathy in so much situations. Like, I'm able to be like, yeah, he hurt me, and what he did was a scumbag, but he grew up without a father. If you saw how his mother raised it, like, I'll start to, like, defend them from, like, their past history and stuff like that, almost to a fault. But and so I'm creating pain in my life, unnecessary pain, where we were talking about how we should blend ourselves up sometimes, because he's very quick to cut. I don't give a fuck. I'm out.
Shit, I'm like that too.
And Jay's similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I've wanted to slap people for Chris.
and I'm the complete opposite. And there's part of me, I don't want to change that at all, but I want to be able to establish sometimes better boundaries faster, you know. And me and Eddie were talking, like, his just because I am not doesn't mean mine's more healthy than his. They both cause us pain. That's the point. They both cause us pain, and through that dialogue that we were having, it gets some introspective of where we're at, because he shouldn't be completely like me, nor do I want to be completely like that. I already was. My favorite part of recovery is that gap in between thought and action. That is what recovery is to me, because there used to be no gap there. It just used to be thought action. It used to be emotion action. Now there's a gap there. It gives me time to process, you know. And we're always going to be in different places. And to circle back around to, I forget what we were talking about earlier, but I wanted to talk about, like, I was just telling that my favorite thing about like especially in the early on in our process and in recovery and all this shit, is we have the greatest gift and the greatest opportunity of the present moment, right? And to not allow our because we were talking about that decision that, like, I almost drank, you almost, and you didn't, you know what I mean? And I tell this to people all the time. You have the opportunity right now to not, for the first time in a very long time, to not allow your present self to fuck over your future self. And you can actually arrive in the future with gratitude for the past you, you know, which is something that I never did. I'd always arrive in the future and be like, you motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
What the fuck? If I just woulda, like that pain,
Shoulda,
like
coulda,
that.
woulda.
And I've had so many experiences with that now. And I could see people's faces when I say that you have the opportunity to finally do right by you. That's the beginning of your process of self-love, making the decision today for the future you, you know, and which is, I always simplify it as like, just allow people to know where you're at. That in and of itself could save your life. That could change the whole trajectory of everything, because we can't get the help that we need if no one knows where we're truly at. And to give yourself permission to reveal that fearlessly and to feel fucking ridiculous. Like, just be who and what you. That's what my favorite part about my relationships with the people in here. Like, he knows me to like our conversations, like, even me and you, the way that we talk and stuff like that, like, it's on an honest level. Yeah. There's no separation. There's no ego. It's not like I'm better than or less than. We're the same, motherfucker. And I don't ever want to be put on a pedestal. There's time difference and stuff like that, but the goal is the same. It's to save my life every day and continue to progress forward. And it's still the same fucking shit that I have to do. Like, there's no graduation class where I'm handed a certificate and it tells me that I no longer need to be connected, honest, or communicating what I'm going through. You know, it's the same curriculum, same shit going on.
Hey, just because you want to get high doesn't mean you have to.
Real shit I have a dud heard.
Keep coming.
It's a man. I had a burning desire to get that out. That's what
his face looked like. He was like,
that was burning a hole inside of me.
Just because you want to get high doesn't mean you have to. Boom. Just fucking smash the mic after that.
On a serious note, J-Mac was talking about this before the podcast. He was like, oh, motherfuckers, I have a question, not even about recovery, that I want to ask all three of you, that he has not asked anybody.
Because I was waiting until the
end. You know what I always love what J-Mac does too? Is right before we start, he tells us how we should starting. Yo, we should just stop doing the fucking thing where we introduce but he doesn't want no part of the starting of the how it's gonna go. He just wants to, right before I have to like start the podcast, he's like, you know how we used to do what we did
naturally, organically.
You know how we used to do what we did? We should not do what we did and what we used to do no more. All right, we ready? Let's go. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do with that? Like, what?
No, I'm saying we should record and just start, just send it.
Well, we did, and how'd that go?
You ready for the question?
Yeah, hit us with
That's the breakfast I'm looking for 2 episodes.
It was, yeah. What was the question?
So we wrapping up soon?
Yeah, this is it. Question? We're at the final 3.
If you only had 3 rappers that you could listen to for the rest of your life.
Easy.
Only 3. I'm gonna give you mine first.
Hit me.
Biggie.
Yep.
Jay-Z.
Yep.
Method Man.
Ooh.
What?
I said Method What?
Man.
Yeah, because that means it's basically a lot of Wu-Tang songs.
Yo.
Right, respect. No, you're next on this train. You don't get to go last just because you're Chris D. What is this?
Knock you off that pedestal.
Yep. I'm Biggie for show. This is my wild card, but if I couldn't listen, if all I could do was listen to this individual's music, I would be okay with it, which is 50. Mm-hmm. I've did a few of those albums I could rock out with forever, 2 of the greatest albums. And my third, this is tough.
He said easy before he answered.
Well, because it's funny because my initial instinct of like my favorite rappers, like who I think are the greatest, but I don't know if I just want to bang Eminem all the time. You know what I mean? But he is one of my favorite.
But here's the best part: there's no wrong answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've been talking about this for years in the barbershop because it just brings up lots of topics and debates, and I like those and sports questions. But I was like, I want to drop a fucking 3 rappers that you could listen to the rest of your life.
So give us a fucking third here.
Right?
We're waiting for a third.
Thank you, Eddie.
Shit.
I like that Eddie got like offended. Like,
Shania Twain.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat over here waiting.
It's gonna spark some debate in the comments too. That's
Oh
what I
yeah,
like.
because if we're talking about who I think's the greatest and who I
No.
wanna listen
We
to-
can have that. We'll ask
No,
that again.
greatest is different.
Yeah, I got different.
I'll explain.
Okay, so
your third?
My third would be Meek Mill's because
Word.
I love Meek Mill's music.
Me too.
It gets me fucking hype as fuck.
Yeah.
And if that's what I'm banging,
Yeah.
I'd be great with just listening to 50 because there's
I still listen to Get Rich or Die Trying every morning.
for sure. Me too. I bang that. And Meek Mill's has so many bangers that get me
Oh,
hyped
he's
up
a
and pumped up.
banging
and,
machine.
And Biggie all day, every day. I'll fucking rock Biggie.
Which shout out yesterday was
just so
March
you know-
9th. Rest in peace, Biggie.
Just
All
so
right,
you
Biggie.
might, I'm not saying these are the greatest. I'm
These
saying
are
that
not.
these-
Who you-
if
you
this
would
is
listen
what,
to.
yes.
He
Yep.
said they were the greatest. I heard him.
No, I didn't.
Who are yours, Eddie?
Listen to? Yeah, I don't honestly, Tupac, and I believe Biggie was greater than Tupac, but so who I am is I'm a softie, right? Like I'm an R&B guy, so
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not a
Tupac was
rapper.
one of the illest poets.
Listen, and his poetry, I feel him on a deep level. He was amazing. He's one of the greatest artists ever to do it. Like
That's true.
Tupac is up there. Eminem for sure. I grew up on Eminem. I related with Eminem. I identify with Eminem, and I still, and all his old bangers. And now, who's my favorite rapper to listen to? He's a Christian rapper, NF. I would 100% like. It's just real music, man. It's relatable music, and I could sit there and I could cry, and I could sit there and I could smile because there's good stuff.
Well, he's a
in there,
real
too.
lyricist.
Yeah. So those for sure, like hands down, those three.
Word. What's yours, Chad?
So mine's really gonna say my age a lot, but Eazy for sure. Eazy-E, I've always been a big fan of Eazy-E. I can listen to Eazy all day. Eminem took me through most parts of my life.
Yeah.
I remember the first album when it dropped. That was one of my favorite albums that Eminem ever did.
My favorite's Eminem Show.
Eminem. Nah, I didn't really get into that one too
Slim
much.
Shady LP all day.
But I think that's why I connect with Eddie too. I'm a big R&B person. I'm all about that baby making music. I listen to it as first thing I'm putting in my headphones in the morning when I wake up. But for a rapper, it's gonna have to be Kevin Gates.
Oh shit!
shit.
Damn, Easy E1 and Kevin Gates 3. Interesting.
Yeah. But remember, we're not talking about who we think's the greatest.
Not just
No,
who I listen to every day.
No.
You would listen to those three.
Oh yeah, facts every day.
Are we spinning this back for greatest?
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Top three greatest. Yeah. Hey. I got a rule.
Biggie, Jay-Z,
No,
and
no.
That's easy for me.
I got a rule. Can we all just go ahead and put Biggie and Tupac up there?
Well, Biggie's my number one.
Can we? But I'm saying, is Biggie and Tupac on all of
I
our
can
top
agree with
three
that. I
lists?
can agree
No.
with
No.
No.
Nope. You know why? And I'm going to be honest with you, and it's not what you're probably thinking. That fucking beef happened at a point in my life, bro, where I cried when Biggie died. I was actually really upset. There's only a couple famous people that have died in my lifetime that I actually got genuinely sad. Biggie, Kobe, Michael Jackson. Dead ass.
Well,
Like Kobe especially. I even talked to Chris. But especially Biggie. And Tupac's not on my list. He's not even on my top 5, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's.
But this is
crazy.
what's
Oh
best
my
about these
God.
conversations.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong, but it's see how you were like, what? That's what I love about this. Because if Chad says his 5 or Chris says his, I know Chris and you will probably have similar. But someone has someone where you go, what? No way. But it's their top 5.
yeah, no, and it's everybody's personal preference.
Yeah.
So you got Biggie and Pac. Who's your third? M.
Yeah, it is them for sure.
And you got what? Biggie and Pac? And then
Yeah, and I mean, so it's a toss up because like I listen to a lot of different and nobody's giving him credit, but Lil Wayne has got some
he's-
mic drops.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
One of his quotes in the thing was to get on my level, you need a spaceship or a ladder that goes on forever. And I use that a lot. You know what I mean? Like I think that's one of the most powerful sentences.
The other thing that's
ever.
cool about this conversation is it usually turns into people wanting to throw in a 4th and 5th because it's so tough to
There's so
narrow
many,
it down.
yeah.
Let's get Fabulous in there, you know, Jada
Yeah,
Kiss.
So
Fabulous
the
for
reason why I
sure,
thought
I'm on
this is
board.
the shirt that I was wearing earlier. I came across this site a few months ago, and it had like Cool G Rap, Rakim, Nas, Jay-Z. It had 5 rappers, but it gives you the option before you finish ordering to pick 5. Now, my favorite thing when I wear it is my 5 on there, which it's not like top 5 ever, but it's Biggie, Big L, Method Man, Fabulous, and Black Thought from the Roots. And I love wearing it because those are fucking 5 of the illest MCs ever to do it. But it's so hard to put like in order like this. So the one thing I know that's always there is Biggie's 1 for me.
Yeah.
But I'd probably say on an influential level in like trend setting and just different things, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas.
And then number 4, Snow. Informer, you know the better than me, I go bam.
I lick your boom boom now.
All right, that's it. We out. Somebody's podcast. This is it. I'd like to thank my man Chad.
Chad-a-lack.
Eddie.
You already know.
Yeah, my man Jay. Peace.